Welcome back to another episode here on the Heart and Hustle podcast. Today, with Miss Kristen. How you doing today, ma'am?
Good, how are you?
I'm excited. You were just telling me how this weekend you were at a soccer fest. What team are you rooting for? Maybe it's not US, maybe it is. And how was your experience at the soccer fest?
Definitely US, but it was England against Panama, so I picked England. I love the British accent. I might pulp into it occasionally.
Let's
Um,
go.
uh,
Yes.
so we had a really good time. They had all sorts of vendors and all sorts of things for the kiddo and I to do. So it was really nice to see City Hall Plaza all decked out for it.
I love it. Are you a theater kid?
No, I did some theater, I did some acting and some modeling when I was younger. I love accents, so
Yeah.
really
Okay.
enjoy trying. My next one is the Scottish one. That's hard though. I don't know how I'm gonna do that one. But
What
I can do
What
a
is your
British
favorite accent?
British.
Oh, it is? As
Yeah.
it okay, okay,
Mm.
okay. Alright. Listen, you, only reason I ask is because you have to have some sort of theater or some sort of, like, to just go into that accent the way you did. So easy, so genuine, like you've done this before or something.
Lots of practice. Lots of
What organization are you representing today?
Northeast Health Services. We're the Massachusetts market for the Transformations Care Network.
Love it, and your role with the organization?
I'm the market president.
How long you been doing it?
4 years. I started here in 22, August of 22.
Yeah, and then what is the growth you've seen? I enjoy when someone starts somewhere and then where they're at today, I can imagine is very different. Where were you when you started? Where are you today?
The organization, when I walked in, had 8 outpatient clinics, and now we have 41.
Holy crap.
We are just opening our 41st next week. So a lot of growth in 4 years.
How does that happen? Like, just communication? Is it, planning? Like, how does you get so big so fast?
Um, Really, the guiding principle is access to care. So our mission is to provide care to all levels of services that we can, to all the folks we can. We take every insurance, right? That's really the guiding principle to the growth is really serving as much as we can to the people in our community. I have a whole host of people that help me. We have a real estate team. I have a facilities team. I have a regional director team. It is just constant work together, collaboration, communication. We are a well-oiled machine now around reviewing floor plans and hiring and, supporting the infrastructure. It's a lot of people's hands to be able to even put up one clinic, never mind the 30 something we did.
Yeah. What does a day in your shoes actually look like? Going to work on a Monday, what is it looking like today?
So I have sort of different ways I manage things. But for me, number one is I always are making sure I'm up to date in all my teams and all of my Outlook. So we are a
Okay.
very large organization, and I have clinics that are 2.5 hours away from me, right, at any given time from where I'm sitting. So number one is making sure that I'm responsive. That is number one for me. The other is accessible. My door is always open, virtual or not. And then whatever projects that we might be working on, whether it's floor plans or policy and procedure, continuous improvement. We have regular cadence meetings that I'm part of. But a Monday is really just making sure, finishing up whatever I couldn't get to on Friday and, pushing through all the different projects that we have going at the time.
I love it. It seems like you're a busy person. You go home and just pass out or something.
No, I definitely couldn't do that. My mind is racing too much, right? So I can't just, shut it off.
Yeah.
I do things to help me reset and get into sort of home. And whether that's music or playing mind-numbing silly games or watching, Netflix or Hulu or, The Bear just came out the last season, so I have one more episode to go. So I can't just shut off.
Yeah.
There's about an hour of time where I have to sort of process and, sort of decompress and compartmentalize.
Yeah. I am at that point. I realized that recently. It's like I just don't know how to sit down sometimes.
Mhm.
And yeah, you're right. Some good music. You mentioned music. What is your go-to music?
Dave Matthews Band is my favorite.
That's what just kind of soothes the soul, huh?
Yeah,
I
I
love it.
actually see him in 2 weeks, so I'm really excited.
Oh my
Um,
god.
but I also really loves blues guitar players. So Joe Bonamassa, Eric Gales, any of those really, really, blues guitar player sort of vibes. I really love the guitar, really love the drums. So if you have a good drummer and a good guitar player, I'll go see you.
Love it. And you mentioned 41 locations. I can imagine is very are they all the same? Like, how does communication happen? So people may need to go to one, or are they all very similar?
So we staff each clinic as its own little microcosm. So we have the way the organization is structured is I have 4 regional directors. Those are broken up by geography. Those regional directors, support the clinic directors in their region. So it's North, South, Mid, and Boston. Those are our 4 regions. And those RDs or regional directors are supporting the clinic directors. The clinic directors really manage their clinic. They're responsible for all 4 walls: hiring, supporting, training, onboarding, all the different pieces. And then we have shared services that help get us the talent we need, or the marketing, or we have an outreach team that goes knocks on doors for us to make sure people know who we are and where we are. So it's a very much a little sort of microcosm of the larger scale. I'd say that about 80% of the things we do are standard, right? They're standard policies, standard procedures, but those clinic directors and the providers that work for them have about 20% of their own practice, right? The way they manage things, how they deliver that policy and procedure might look different in one clinic to another. Every clinic has a vibe. Every clinic, sort of has a culture, and that's really driven by the clinic director and the team they have around them. So we really want to give folks flexibility and the ability to practice the way they'd like to, with a good 80% standard sort of way and expectations to do those things.
Got it. Got it. It's almost like a franchise, but not a franchise. Or
It
is
is
it?
it's not a franchise. We do have other markets in the country though, right?
Mm,
And our goal is to spread across the country as much as we can. So right now we're in Washington State, we're
love it.
in the DMV, West Virginia, Philadelphia, or Pennsylvania, right? We're moving into Ohio at some point next year. And then eventually here, closer to the Massachusetts borders, we're exploring New Hampshire and Rhode Island as well.
This is so cool. Did you know this was in plan when you started, or this is just kind of evolved?
It's a very interesting situation. So I got a email from LinkedIn from a recruiter saying, "Do you know anybody that would fit this bill?" And I wasn't looking for a job at the time. And I looked at the fit the bill criteria and I was like, I could do that. So before I responded to him, I went and looked up the leadership. I had never heard of this organization before. I've lived in Massachusetts my whole life.
Hmm.
In the leadership are people I've worked with before. Many of them come from a large insurance agency that previously was called Beacon Health Options. Now it's called WellSense. But many of those folks I had worked with before, I still had some of their cell phone numbers. So I texted one. I'm like, "What's Transformations Care Network?" Right? And then here I am, interviewed, and knew that we wanted to do 20% year over year growth. And my own personal mission is access to care. And I said, "All right, let's do it." And that's how I got here.
Wow, I love it. And why is that your mission?
Um, I've been sort of in this ever since high school. I wasn't a real fan of high school. I loved the sports. I was really into sports and all of those in clubs, right? But high school wasn't my jam in terms of work and schoolwork and
Yep, yep.
homework, right? And then I took a psychology class, and I fell in love with it. How the brain
Wow.
works and all the different things that we don't know and we do know. And it's just been my passion is therapy and psychology. I started out as a therapist. I still am a licensed mental health counselor in the state of Mass, and I realized that I can, see 8 or 10 clients a day. And then as I grew in the field, got my license because I started out as a master's level, got my
Uh-huh.
license, and, a few years in was able to supervise folks. And that's really rewarding, right? Is supervising folks to go out and do more work. So I was like, well, if I have tons of supervisees, then they're seeing 8 or 10 clients a day. Then I was like, well, I could direct a program, and then there's like 30 clinicians providing 8 or 10 hours of work a day. And then I just sort of grew with that, knowing that
Wow.
my passion was to grow, the field with wonderful therapists out there, and maybe someday run an agency that has lots and lots of therapists out there. And I can only do so much. And if I have 30, 40, or 800 therapists now doing the work out there, that's good work, that provide good access and quality care. It doesn't really get much more rewarding than that.
Yeah, that is passion, purpose over paychecks all day.
Yeah.
I love it.
Mhm.
So you're not practicing at all anymore?
I don't do any more direct care. No. I
Do you
stopped
miss
doing
it?
um Yes, I do. I do get times every single day. Just this morning, I talked about a case, consulted on a case, chatted a little bit about some interventions that might be possible, right? So I do get to have that. I sit in our staff get group supervision every week and individual, but group particularly, I'll go and we'll staff a case together. And, I have some my own specialties when I did direct care. So I was able to sort of support folks and do that all the time. So I'm not, behind a closed door anymore, but I offer, sort of guidance and support where I can clinically.
I always feel it's like natural is just what you do, right? Would
Yeah,
you say
it's
that?
part of who I am. Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, how about innovation? Like, where are you guys with innovation?
So many different levers. I think, one of the things that we did was centralize our intake. That was years ago now. But now we only have one front door for our clients. Makes it easy, accessible. We answer the phone 95% of the time live.
Mhm.
And that is amazing in this field. When we don't answer the phone, the 5%, we're outreaching over 6 times to those folks to get them in the door. We have a web form too, so people will come in that way, and you're usually getting those people scheduled anywhere between 48 and 72 hours from when they submit the form. To me, that just feels like good practice, but it is innovative because many of the folks out in the world, especially in Massachusetts, there are large, large wait lists.
Mhm.
And for us to be able to get folks in the door right away is something I pride myself on. You call in today, I can get you in and seen, depending on what you need, within 14 days. So that to me is really, truly innovative in the fact that most other places can't say that. And I'm very proud of that.
Mhm.
Um, I think the other thing that for me that we do that is very different is we offer two particular service lines here, which is TMS, which is transcranial magnetic stimulation, and then
Yeah.
the other is ketamine or Spravato, right? That's the name brand for ketamine, and that's for treatment-resistant depression. Um, they're not new services, but there's never been an outpatient clinic, in my knowledge, in Massachusetts that offer those service lines along with traditional psychiatry and therapy. And we're seeing tremendous results for many, many, many people that have depression. And we all know someone in our family or friends or colleagues that have been through it. And to see some of the changes in their lives from these two treatments, I would say is probably another piece that I'm very, very proud of.
I've listen, the just speaking of that you're doing today and just the happiness and the excitement and the passion, it comes across as you're just proud of the work that you do. What keeps you so proud after all these years? Is it seeing the wins? Is it knowing that you're not done? What is it?
Yes, and yes. Um, I also get to see younger career graduates just walk out the door and this is their first job. And some of those folks were our interns. Now they're our supervisors. I have clinic directors now that were interns here years ago. So I get to see folks grow in their own career. So I think that's
Yeah.
super rewarding. The fact that I serve over 80,000 individual clients in the place where I live, my mission's been access to care since as long as I can remember. It doesn't get any better than that. Um, for me, I don't know where they would go if we weren't here. And
Yeah.
so that just makes me want to build more and do more and get more languages and more services and more specialties. And that's what fills my cup is knowing that, my neighbor could be getting services from one of my
Yeah.
clinics.
True, true. No, for sure, especially knowing that you're doing it at home. Now it's super exciting just talking to you and just hearing all this. And I can imagine that it wasn't something that you were probably maybe you were born with it, but who's pouring into you? You know, when you talk about leadership skills, it is so hard, especially as a woman probably in this space. Like, what are the leaders? Who are your leaders? If you don't mind sharing it, and what are they pouring into you that keeps you going after all these years in a time that it could be difficult, challenging?
Absolutely. There's been people in my life, throughout my life, psychology teacher in high school. Still remember Mr. Murphy. He's the one that made me fall in love originally, right? And then I've had 3 or 4 amazing, amazing supervisors throughout my life. One was a Dr. Scott Andrews. He's out of Fitchburg. I was a office manager, an intern. I sort of did it all and learned the back end of the business, all the while getting my master's degree, right? I learned how to do testing from him. I had another supervisor, Stephanie Judy, out of the Mentor Network, really taught me a little bit about how to use situational leadership, and meet your personnel where they're at, right?
Yeah,
All of those people are in the field and have been licensed in the field, which is also helpful to have that.
yeah,
Now I have a COO, Maggie Tapp, who's also a social worker. And being able to have a social worker who leads operations is someone I look up to dearly and admire so much. And she's taught me a lot about how to sustain the growth, to support continuous improvement. And the thing here at Transformations in Northeast is you use your voice and the C-suite listens, and that is very, very critical for the largest market in the network to be able to sort of we always blaze the path. We're always first, right? And having a leader I can lean into and say, "I'm gonna pull this lever, I'm gonna change how we manage that," or constantly improving our systems for efficiency. So I've been lucky enough to have some really good leaders, that have really supported my understanding of not only good clinical quality care, but also all the operations behind it. Because it's not just what happens behind that closed door. That is the most important thing, but it takes a lot of work to get that person behind that door, whether it's our staff or the client, right? So it's just been folks that have sort of given me all the pieces I would need to, you know, operationally as well as clinically succeed. And I've been very, very lucky
hell yeah. Have you ever called any of the leaders that you don't talk to and just say thank you?
all the time. Um, it's funny, I had an interview with somebody the other day that is working for one of my previous supervisors, Stephanie Judy. I'm like, I'm hot. I'll hire you now. I knew right away. Right. So, we occasionally we're sharing referrals or, sending me a candidate or maybe a referral source. Right. So it's constantly doing those things. And at any given time, random thank you messages, whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook or
Yeah.
Insta. It is, and it's nice too. I get that sometimes too, from my previous folks that I've supervised. That makes me feel amazing to have them reach out and say thank you to me. But I
Yeah.
wouldn't be here without my leaders. So
It's always cool. I think from a leadership perspective, we don't realize how we pour into people, you know, and sometimes either we will never know because we never may come across that person again, or we will because they will tell us, right? Or the seeds that we plant. I've had people
Mhm.
talk to them years later and they said, because of you, I actually received a text message today from a friend, and it's actually my friend's husband. And he just, you know, from a man to man, first of all, it doesn't happen, but it's just like, man, like, thank you. You don't realize it because that is just who you are, right? When we talked about that's just kind of who you are. But it is cool, you know, and I think about even our teachers. You mentioned Mr. Murphy, had to write him down and forget. Why was Mr. Murphy different? Clearly there was a lot. Was it his teaching style, the way that he's seen you for who you were? What was different about him?
Well, he made it interesting. And I do wonder, thinking back a little bit, maybe it was just the topic that interests me, and so now I automatically associate that with him.
Got it, got it, got it.
Because I in all the other classes in high school, I was just like, is it lunchtime? Like,
Yeah.
I'm done, like, I don't wanna do geometry, I'm all set. Um, and that was the only class I looked forward to, and even the first class, I remember he was sort of giving us a picture of the brain. I don't remember what the topic was. Geez, this is hundreds of years ago. Um,
Oh
and
my
I was just
god, stop.
I was sort of staring at the chalkboard because that's what we used back then, and was in it just totally enthralled, and then every time after, I was looking forward to it, and
Yeah,
I remember letting him know when I graduated that, he helped me figure out what I wanted to do in life, and it
amazing.
and I don't know if it was him or it was just the content or maybe it was
A little bit
the
of both.
both, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, being able to facilitate, I realize that there's different ways of teaching, right? There is the just boring way, as you mentioned, oh my God, I want to get out of here. But there's those that really make it make sense,
Mhm, mhm,
because we're all also different type of learners. Like where there's a hands-on, there's the listening learners, like there's so many different ways. So yeah, I refer back to some of the teachers where I took the same class, just two different educators, and one educator made it make sense to me. And I'm like, "Oh my, I get it now." So a lot of the times it's just teaching style. That's why I was even asking is because, um, there's educators that really love what they do, and try to just make it make sense. And that was my motto when I used to facilitate is I just wanted to make it make sense. Please
mhm,
ask any question. I'm gonna teach you 3 different ways so that you figure it out. And it
yeah,
looks like that's what Mr. Murphy was doing for you to make
mhm.
sure that you understood it. So, and not that we weren't smart kids. I like how you said school was it's not that we weren't smart, it's just school wasn't our, as your word would say, not our jam.
Yeah,
Kristen.
it's not
I
not my gig. Um,
love it.
and then I went to college and just fell in love with it because it was all the things I wanted to know.
Yeah.
I wasn't sitting in a math class, that wasn't my favorite, but, college, I ended up walking in with a psychology major. I was declared right away for that reason. And then I actually ended up double majoring. I loved school so much, right? And in sociology and criminal justice. So, really, really changed as I walked out of high school because of this. I walked into college, head down. I mean, my father said, my mom and dad will say it all the time. We either thought you were going to drop out within the first, semester, or you'd be running the school by the end of the first semester.
I love it.
And so, yeah, every club, everything I could get involved in, I was.
That is so cool. What made the difference between, because to me, I felt that like I was dumb in high school, but then when I got to college, I was like a 3.5 student. I'm like, "Holy crap." What do you think the difference was there?
My father telling me he's paying lots of money for school. No, that's probably some of it. But
Oh, yeah.
I decided that, okay, this is up to me now. It's not, "Here, do this worksheet, turn it in, take a multiple choice test to have your memorization tested." It's very different in college. You're reading, you're having discussions, you're writing papers of your own opinion, thought, and research, right? More autonomy. That's who I am. I like to be autonomous. I'm absolutely a team player. But in college, I was able to sort of be and do who I wanted to be and, you know, did the things I was doing because it was specifically psychology. So I just had more investment in it.
Love it. You said you had a son or a daughter?
I have 2 sons.
2 little boys. How not little boys, how old are these kids?
Gavin is 19 and Maddox is 15. Um, Gavin is 19 in age, but he has a very rare chromosome disorder that less than 270 people have in the world called Alfie syndrome. So Gavin, even though he's 19 in age, is more like a 4 or 5-year-old and sort of how he interacts with the world.
Yeah. Still the light of the party.
Gosh, he's the sweetest kid ever. Very not a behavioral kid in any sort of way.
Love it.
Wouldn't hurt a fly. Very gentle, very happy child most of the time. But
Yeah.
yeah, he's a joy to be around and taught me a lot about patience and how I view the world.
I love it, and I love you mentioned patience. One of the things I felt like kids taught me, I got 2. I'm in very early stages, so I have a 2 and a 5-year-old, and they both don't act their age. They both think they're grown, and, but it is patience. It surely is patience, and what a joy it is. The work that we were doing, we were always doing, but then to know that you have these kids and you're really pouring into them, which is kind of what led me to this question is when you think about your kids, what do you want to them to remember about their mom? like who she was as a person.
I want them to know, if I had to ask them in, 30 years, what do you remember about who I am and what I was to you, is that I was always there. No matter what the situation, good, bad, or ugly, I could always count on mom to support, guide, to pick up the pieces, right? I think that's one. I have so much love. I give them constantly love and kisses and texts and, I love you. How you doing? Right. Even those little touch points. I think if I could, that would be my legacy, of that I was always there and that I gave them so, so much love.
Love it. Moms are underrated. I don't think that I had the experience of some may have with their moms growing up. I definitely am more grateful for her now as an adult, but seeing the work that my wife puts in out with these two kids, every day is a new day. You still got to show up no matter what's going on in your life, right? And that's what you mentioned. I was always there, no matter if something was going on in my life mentally. I showed up. Were we perfect? I don't know that anybody is. So yeah, Kristen, I love it. What good words. And to see your colleagues, those that may be in a space of asking themselves, why am I still why am I still doing it? What is your words of encouragement for them to keep going?
There is always a why behind the reasons we do the things. And for me, we talked about sort of that access to care and providing the care to folks that really need it and deserve it. So that's my why. You have to have your own why in this field. You have to have a good sort of a good operative self-care. The word self-care is not my favorite, but there has to be a place in which you find a way to create boundaries for yourself, compartmentalize yourself, fill your cup up. And why is because someone out there, you change their life, even if it's one person behind a closed door. Don't give up. There's another person that you'll change their life as well. But being able to have good self-care routines, really have good boundaries, and always remembering your why, right? And there are times every once in a while where I'm like, "Ah, it's been a day, it's been a week, it's been a month," and I'll just remind myself, there's 80,000 people out there getting services. So what that your teams went down for the day? There's 80,000 people out there that are getting services because of the clinics we've built, and I just try to remind myself every day, to keep going. It's worth it. It's worth it in the end.
I love it. And what a conversation we had today. What could people find more information about what you guys are doing in the Mass area?
So they can go to our transformationscarenetwork.com. There's a website there, shows you all of our locations. There's a web form if you're interested in services. It'll also show you some of our clinics. There's plenty of pictures of our therapists and prescribers on there. And we have a central intake phone number they can give a call anytime to refer.
I love it. Guys, these are the conversations that we're having with leaders that are just like you, that understand that every day is not going to be a good day, but you still got to show up because 80,000 people are getting that services because of you, and people like Kristen. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys do subscribe, like, and comment. I'm Efrain. This is Kristen. We'll catch you on the next one. Later.